I think that the most important skill, if you don't have a job, is cold emailing. Because it doesn't matter how much finance you know or how many books you've read if you can't get into the interview room. And cold emailing is the engine that allows you to uncover new opportunities and get more interviews. If you are a freshman or a sophomore, this is kind of your only chance to get a good finance opportunity because you won't have a lot of experience and it'll be difficult for people to take a chance on you. So in this video, we're going to go over cold email best practices, where to find leads, and the attitude you need to have when you're cold emailing. First, I want to crystallize the point. No one is above cold emailing. If you are an associate at a venture capital firm or growth equity firm, a lot of your job is going to be cold emailing people. So you got to get comfortable with it as soon as possible. So if you're a non-target, or if you have substandard grades, or if you worked in a different industry, or if you have no connections, then you have to cold email. And in the world of business, there's a couple of rules you should adhere to. The first mistake that almost all beginners make is that they write a cover letter length email, and they include lots of detail about their personal life and random other facts. Your email should be 5 to 8 sentences maximum. Someone has to be able to read it in 30 seconds because they're going to make a judgment of whether they're going to give their time to you or not. They need to be able to read it quickly on their phone, and if you have lots of paragraphs, it's just going to be a huge deterrent. They're probably not going to read it. So in this email, you want to be as direct and as concise as possible. You can start by introducing yourself, how you know them, your experience, and then you want to try to personalize it as much as possible. Did you go to the same school? Were you both president of the same club? Do you come from the same part of the city? Or do you know parts about their firm that seem interesting? Are there news articles that you know their team has been a part of? Things that show that you've done research and that you actually care about making this connection. And lastly, at the end, I think it's very helpful to have kind of a specific call to action at the end. Maybe you want to call with them over the next 2 weeks. Maybe you want a coffee with them the next time they're in town, or you want them to give you an email, something that's specific that doesn't leave it too open-ended, because that's going to increase the conversion rate of people responding to you. So now we're looking at the cold email that I sent when I was entering my junior year, and I want to show you how simple and straightforward it should be. I introduce myself quickly, and then I say how I found them. I found this person through the alumni directory. I quickly mention my experience. I don't dive into too much detail, and then I point out a similarity that we have. We are both part of the same club. I attach my resume and I state my goal. I'm trying to learn more about the investment banking industry. And finally, I have the call to action. Do you have some time to chat over the phone in the coming 2 weeks? It's only a couple of sentences, but I can reuse this basic framework for almost every email. I would probably change up this sentence, specializing it depending on the person I'm speaking with, but in general, it gives you a sense of what you should be trying to do. If you'd like to get this template, you can check the link in the description below. I also break down the basic rules as well as the paragraphs you should follow. So I want to stress too that this is not easy work. It can take tons and tons of emails to get replies, and it's hard to convert that into an actual offer. So a very important part of this is having a good attitude and gritting through difficult times. In my own experience, my first paid internship, I reached out to about 350 people. So that means I was emailing 10 to 20 people every single day during recruiting season. And I was just relentless, going through databases, combing through people's emails. Of those 350 people, only 80 of them even got back to me. So that's about 20%. And a lot of them straight off the bat were like, no, I don't want to talk to you. No, we don't have a position open. And that's completely fine because it's information that's helpful to you. And next, only 30 people wanted to get on the phone with me for a call or do a coffee. So that's less than 10% of people that are even getting to this stage. From that, I got 8 interviews and I only received 1 offer. So all that work, which took the course of several months just to get a single offer, which I ultimately took. And really, that's the perfect number. You only need 1 job for your summer. In terms of your lead pipeline, I think there's 3 main strategies I would try to employ. The first is really obvious. You should get LinkedIn Premium. You only need to get it for a couple of months, but just being able to send unlimited messages is such a huge boost. And LinkedIn messages aren't quite as good as emails, but you can just keep doing it relentlessly. The next category would be databases, and I found that alumni and club databases are incredibly helpful. If you go to like the student services, sometimes they'll have alumni databases available for people, and you just want to go through them, double check on LinkedIn what their work experience is, and reach out to them with an ask. I've also had success using lead gen sites. These are very popularly used by people actually in sales. So sites like ZoomInfo or Grabber, they're just big databases with tons of contact information in them, and they're pretty expensive, but if you sign up for a trial, then maybe you can get exactly what you need out of it. And the last thing is honestly trial and error. This might seem completely goofy to you, but people in the real world do use this strategy. And what I mean by this is just forced trying all the different combinations of what their email probably is. Because if they work at a particular bank, then it's probably first dot last or first initial dot last, something of this nature. So a couple of things to remember. First, make sure that the email is perfect. Get multiple people to review it. Make sure there's no grammar mistakes whatsoever. Second, I always like to attach my resume. It just gives them more context. Again, when they're making the decision of whether to talk to you, that's only going to take 5 or 10 seconds to them. And having the resume there just adds some validity. They can look at your resume and get a better understanding for who you are. Now, a very important part of this process is that you need to follow up. You're reaching out to very busy people with crazy schedules, and they're not always going to see every email. So I like to wait 1 or 2 weeks, follow up again. Then you'll follow up one more time after 1 or 2 weeks. So you're reaching out to them 3 times, and if they don't respond at that point, then you can just move on. The last thing I'd recommend to you is that you should try to systematically track your leads in a CRM or even an Excel spreadsheet, something that's simple to use and that you can constantly edit. Because just like in sales, you want to track all this information. You want to know what kinds of people are responding, people at which firms are looking for what kinds of interns, or even giving you the opportunity for an interview. If you'd like to download this CRM tracker, which is what I use during recruiting, feel free to check the link below. So I hope you learned something from this video. And I just want to emphasize that I know cold emailing is not fun, but everyone does it. All my friends that got internships in their first and second year, they had to cold email relentlessly. And that's why you need to do it too. So thanks again for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.